At Headquarters Under Control, and here on Beyond Eight Figures, we do bring to you entrepreneurs who have either exited for more than $10 million or currently run $10 million plus businesses. And I have to say, we've had some extraordinary guests on, and I am so excited about today's show because I think we will continue right down that path of extraordinary with Antonio Smith Jr., who flew in from Houston.
Yes, sir.
To join us here in studio. So thank you for doing that, man. So you took the morning flight out, and you'll do the interview, and then you'll head right back over to Houston.
That's right.
There's work to do.
That's it.
There is work to do.
Leaving my hotel. I'm getting ready to go on this podcast called Beyond Eight Figures. You can't even be on it unless you have 8 figures, right? It's cool, and man, it's just fun. I'm gonna see if I can drop a lot of knowledge for you. The one thing I want to tell you all on this episode is don't forget where you come from, no matter where you at.
I'm on? Oh, yeah, you're on. Oh, snap. I didn't realize I was on. See, this is why you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So, yeah, Antonio, I am one, surprised and, and thankful that you're here in Cali, on my stomping grounds, in this part of the country. Really excited about your interview and what you're doing today. And anxious to hear, this type of interview, this type of being able to be on this type of show. What is it, 8 figures? And yeah, that's an honor. But I was listening to something you said today about not forgetting where you are. Where you come from, and that's a mindset, because a lot of times if we don't feel like we're worthy of those types of finances, those types of figures, then we do forget where we came from, and it causes problems for us because we don't even feel like we should be there. So I'm anxious to hear and learn what you're gonna say in this interview, especially being that I'm gonna have 8 figures. It ain't gonna be long. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm tagging along to hear.
My name is Steve Olsher. Hi. Mary
Hello.
Goulet.
You didn't say my name.
I know. I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to say hi and see if you respond. Mary Goulet, what's up? How are you? Good to see you.
Well,
Richie Ote, what's up, baby?
What's going on?
Everybody's holding it down in the studio, and Kelly's got it back at Headquarters Under Control. And here on Beyond Eight Figures, we do bring to you entrepreneurs who have either exited for more than $10 million or currently run $10 million plus businesses. And I have to say, we've had some extraordinary guests on, and I am so excited about today's show because I think we will continue right down that path of extraordinary with Antonio Smith Jr., who flew in from Houston.
Yes, sir.
To join us here in studio. So thank you for doing that, man. So you took the morning flight out, and you'll do the interview, and then you'll head right back over to Houston.
That's right.
There's work to do.
That's it.
There is work to do.
Yes,
all right, so man, so right out of the gate, help us understand how you qualify for Beyond 8 Figures. So did you exit a business from? So you didn't exit a business for more than 8 figures. So you currently run a business that generates more than $10 million in annual revenue. So tell us about that business.
Yeah, sure. It technically is a personal training development company. Right now we generate about $34 million this year. About April, we was at somewhere around 12 million. I'm a celebrity business advisor, so I get most of my money helping arrogant celebrities who have not decided to adjust to the information age, and I sell them the solution to their pain. Get most of my money that way.
So just so I'm clear on that, so what does that look like? So we're not going to obviously name names because I don't think we want to, you're going to lose clients if we name names having first called them arrogant. And so, right, so it's probably another way to describe them, unaware of the possibilities that exist for them. Entitled, right? So give us an understanding then, not naming names, but like this is a movie star or an athlete, someone. They come into contact with you by referral, or what exactly? How do you get to them, and what do you do for them?
Now it's referral.
Okay.
I I do a good job of letting people take credit, and I stay in the background, and no one ever knows who I was in this particular situation. Of course, you got to sign a bunch of NDA agreements with that as well. Software people, then you have some people who are celebrity names, and then they're venturing over into Bitcoin, and then the people in Bitcoin, make sure I don't say those names, are again giving checks for being celebrity endorsers for 1 or 2 years. We just worked on that deal right now. And then some of the celebrities would be the first African American person to do such and such. So what I do really just depends on the client.
Are there any of those left?
Yeah,
I mean, like, what else can we do now? I mean,
know, right?
It's like,
I know.
Really, I mean, you guys are like us now.
Yeah, I know,
You got nothing left. You can't be the first African American doing anything anymore.
love
That's
it.
done.
I know.
What's left?
I know.
You've done it all now. Now we're trying to catch up with you guys.
Well, he's like the first African American to wear the headphones this way.
So, and I'm trying to get a sense here, because $34 million, that's a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what business you're in, that's a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
So break that down
Sure.
for me. Where does that revenue come from?
So we got a couple of ways here, okay? Let's go with the main 3 ways. The
Yeah,
main 3
sure.
ways. Obviously, contracts with these people in which I advise, and then I have a large network. Right now, I have 5 top-ranked podcasts on iTunes right now. So if you put my name on iTunes, you'll see all 5 of them, and it's hundreds of thousands of people per podcast, which gives me a large network. And then I sell my specified knowledge in the same company. I have a business university, which the young lady back there is part of, and people actually pay $20,000 to get into this university in which I teach them the same stuff I'm teaching to the celebrities, and I've got a couple of hundred people in there as well. So that's the second wave of revenue. And then sales funnels, come on. That's the holy grail of it all.
All right, so wait, so hold on. So I'm just doing the math here. So if we've got, if we got people paying $20,000 a year, and we've got, did you say 200 people in that?
Yep.
So that's a $4 million run rate. Okay,
Cool.
so right there, so that's a $4 million run rate.
Right.
So the celebrities, you're working with the celebrities. Are they paying you? What are they paying you to do, and how much are they paying? Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of how we get to another $30-odd million in revenue.
Yeah, no, I got you. I get paid on both the front end and the back end, and then I make sure that the more I do, costs go, or the more the client does, the costs go down. Therefore, you're making money twice. You're making money when you get it, and you're making money before you even spend it. So I'll get something on the front end, and then I'll take points on the back end.
So you're saying like maybe connecting them with someone, or like launching a
I'll give
business
you a great
endeavor?
example.
Yeah, please.
I'll give you a great example that
Please.
I'm not even on the NDA with. Les Brown is one of my friends, and I'm his business advisor. And sometime this year, I'll leave the month out because I don't want to take a particular event. I hooked up with this startup company that does web streaming. And what they do with their web streaming is they charge people to get you can ask questions for a dime, or you can ask questions for a penny, and things like that. This is Les Brown. A lot of people are asking questions, and that whole deal, once it was structured out, was a $34 million deal. By the time it was a profit of 34 after all fees, it was a $34 million profit.
Just for
that.
less, and just for that deal?
Just for less.
At a penny a pop?
Well, it's a bit more than a penny. But
Right. That's a lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. It's like, and they had 5 screens. It's got 5 screens running simultaneously, plus this large 3-day event, and all 4K everything. And by the time it was done, with all the users who had registered on the back end, and they're not a data collection company. So the cool thing is we get to be like Facebook and collect all the data as well. So you turn around and get 12,000 people who now wanted these particular products. You know where they stopped at on the cart, and then you can also monetize on the back end as well like that. But by the time the deal was done after fees, it was $34 million.
Gross to you and to less,
Right.
and so
I
on.
took a lot of points, but I won't say that one on air. It was a lot.
So I'm just just trying to run through it. So that is what would we call that? Just that's like a software. I mean, like where would you categorize that endeavor?
That was more like a TV deal that you like Netflix, something that, well, not as big as Netflix, but
Yeah.
it is a streaming
deal of TV that we get to own with the company.
Okay.
So I did something on the back end on twice. I had, which I actually was legal. I had Les paid me, okay, and I also had the company paying me. So I got paid twice on the one deal, on the streaming company for the 3-day event.
Okay.
And that's more like a TV deal for that one, like a 3-day TV deal to get more people online. Most conferences would have a strong online presence, and that's what we capitalize on. Instead of just going live and you don't get paid that way. This company offers you a great opportunity to get paid. So you get paid, the tickets were, I want to say $197. So you get that up front, plus what you will then get with the questions, with the interviews and the live feed or this business course here, business secret VIP room right there. Exactly.
So just,
Sure.
again, just so I'm clear, so you were a third party then to this endeavor and you just brought Les to the table? Or this was something that you actually created?
I did the whole thing. I
You
just
did.
didn't create the software. I knew the people. I knew Les. I put the whole deal together.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that in and of itself netted you guys $34 million in revenue?
The gross
was
that
34
was
on that.
34 million. Obviously, Les got a nice chunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a nice chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the celebrities, that's a big part of it. The university, that's a big part of it. You have the podcast, that's a big part of it.
Huge part of it.
Yeah, and so we, as podcasters, I mean, this is a live radio show that we then repurpose into a podcast. So we're in that space and trying to get, obviously, better at monetization. Let's learn some stuff from you, man.
Sure.
How do you monetize your shows?
It's actually slightly different for me, but it can be the same for you. I'm black, right? And I know.
Wait a minute.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
Jesus.
I know.
They didn't tell me that.
No, I'm not telling you
Interview
that.
over.
I know. I know. So for me, it works a tad bit differently because when black businesses fail, they fail because we don't have a community, and when we don't have a community, we don't have an economy. And for me, I don't need to advertise on my podcast the way most people do.
Okay.
Here's the greatest thing that I would tell anybody to do. Like Tyler Perry. If you go see a Tyler Perry movie, you're gonna see a Tyler Perry movie that's being previewed about.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna see a Tyler Perry play about the movie that's being previewed about. And you're gonna hit the only thing you're gonna see
Everything he does is the same.
Exactly. It really is. It really is.
Doesn't matter if it's on the stage or on the screen.
Yes,
it's the same
it's the
thing.
same.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see Lionsgate, and after that you're gonna see all Tyler Perry. I do the same thing on my podcast, and the reason it works for me, it's one of those advantages of actually being black, because in my community, people who have recognized and created their own communities, you get this loyalty, like the Puerto Rican community or the Jewish community or things like that. So my podcast allows money to bounce around about 17 times before it leaves my network.
So let me just make sure I'm clear
Sure.
on this. So you put out these shows. So what are the names of some of the shows that you have? Because you got
Yeah.
4 of them, I think,
Five
right?
of them.
5 of
Got
them.
5 of them.
Brick by brick.
All right, there you
Secret
go.
to success.
I'm so glad I was not lying.
Overcoming low self-esteem. Awareness TV, and I don't see the 5th one.
Secret to Success, Brick by Brick, Overcoming Low Self-Esteem,
Awareness TV.
Awareness TV. I have no idea right now. It's a fifth
Okay.
one.
So
There
do
you
you
go.
bounce
Yeah.
around as in from one podcast to another podcast to one of your funnels to
B2B, B2B, business to business from A to Z.
There you
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
My
okay.
brain was working. Okay, go ahead.
So when you're saying bounce them around within their 17
Oh, yeah.
different ways before, you're saying from like a B2B to the business podcast A to Z to the other podcast in funnels and all that, that would be the other way.
It's genius. I turned my show notes into sales funnels. And every show, Brick by Brick has 200-something episodes. You have 200-something sales funnels. But what happened is, normally there's 2 business podcasts in the top ranking. So you have business. But then with business, you all know you got to work with some sort of personal development. That is exactly why Overcoming Low Self-Esteem is there. I'll do a webinar of Overcoming Low Self-Esteem or something to have it free and then attract people to the business, or the exact opposite. have you in the business and attract you to overcome low self-esteem, and you just hit one funnel after another funnel, and now you're stuck in my network. Yeah.
So how are you, well, Richie's operative word here is bounce. So how are you bouncing people from the podcast and being sort of these passive listeners, if you will, to being active prospects and then getting them into some sort of ecosystem where you can do that?
Fair enough. And I heard in the introduction it says you grill me for those answers.
I was trying to keep your headphones off, and you put them on right at that moment. I was like, damn.
You're going to get one of my biggest secrets that you just grilled it right out of me. I believe that if you date someone, well, it's the third date rule, right? You know, you understand it's a common vernacular. After the third date, I expect some dates. You know?
I'm not paying for the next dinner.
Okay, exactly. You know, and what I do is I kind of figure that's about 8 to 10 hours of getting to know someone. My whole system is designed to keep you bouncing around to me for about 8 to 10 hours. Because if you lay down with someone for 8 to 10 hours, then the equivalent of that in the business world is pulling out your wallet or your purse in 8 to 10 hours. That's why you have the whole bouncing around. So I basically simulate 3 dates, no matter where you come into my funnel. And I get people to trust me, because if they know you, they'll follow you. But if they trust you, they'll buy from you. And I just force people to date me for 8 hours. Bouncing around. And if you go to my Facebook page, there's another funnel. It starts you all over. Some 30-second videos. I even got 3-hour videos. It doesn't matter, because my whole concept is to get you to date me for 8 hours. And of course, and my customer acquisition cost, this is crazy. In fact, I've had she got my phone back there anyway. It cost me 2 cents to get a new Facebook like. 2 cents. That's all it cost me. That means at 3 cents, I'm at an infinity return on investment. And I just keep people in the funnel all day long, dating me for 8 hours. And you know, I got a pretty sexy face, so it's not too hard. Right?
So do you have a sense then of what, I mean, if somebody likes the page, if somebody's listening to the podcast, do you have a sense of what that like or what that podcast listener is worth to you in terms of a lifetime customer value? But obviously, a like isn't a customer. There's still got to be a process to get folks into, buying mode. But do you have a sense of how that all equates metric-wise?
I wish I did.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I did. I absolutely don't. Though I only get a sense when I poll my audience. It's one of the things. My Facebook page has something like 355,000 people on it, and I just believe that until 35,000 people complain about me polling them, then I'm not polling them enough. So I poll all the time. So once you come in, I ask you these crazy questions like, what's hurting you this week? What business technique would you like me to teach this week? It's just a bunch of random questions that seem random to them. What I'm doing is I'm reading my audience more than I read books. And I only post what they want to hear. I'm not sure, most people, there's something called a friend score. A friend score is what most people don't use.
Is that V-R-E-N?
V-R-I-N.
V-R-I-N.
Okay, V-R-I-N. So you just grilled me for another secret. Okay, so.
What is it?
Yeah, I know, right? Friend, V in friend stands for value. And you want to take all these V-R-I-N and you want to put them on a score of 10. And I don't post anything that doesn't have a value less than 8. I don't post just to post. There's no sense in being popular and not being paid. Then you get the.
Do you put this value on, or do you go, "Hey Richie, is this an 8 or is this a 6?"
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I see all my stuff, I'm like, "Well, that's about a 4," and other people are like, "No, that's an 8." I'm like, "No, that's a 4." And they're like, "No, it's an 8." So
I let the polling answers determine the value because they've asked for this thing, whatever that thing is. Then I post that week. And as long as I'm about 80% of what people ask for, I just say that's an 8 in value. Then you got to go with rarity. How hard is it to find this post anywhere else? Then you got that part. Then you got, and I can never say this word when I'm talking fast, inimitable, okay? How hard is this to copy? You can't copy. So when I make sure I post something, this interview, with your charisma, the energy in this room, and what I'm saying, it's hard to copy.
Yeah.
You can't, you're right, this is one of those things that's high on the level I. Then, non-substitutionary. Can I go to someone else's page and find the same video that I just posted on this page? And once all of those are at an 8, 8, 8, and 8 and higher, your virality jumps up. Even if you don't go all the way viral, the people who have watched it, they're ready to buy from
That sounds like a great T-shirt. What's your VRIN number? Right? You should only date based on their VRIN number,
Yeah.
right? You're a single guy. You married. You got kids.
No, I used to be married.
Used
I'm
to
not
be.
married, not married.
Well, you get
anymore.
$34 million. It changes
Oh,
how
well,
you think about things. I don't know.
that does work. That does work.
The divorce happened before or after the $34 million?
It happened in the middle of it.
Because you knew the $34 million was coming out of back
Back into 17 million.
yeah, she's well taken care of. That's
Right.
for sure.
So let's be honest. This year you're not doing 34.
I know, right? And then with the 3 kids, I'm not doing anything. That's for
Got
sure.
nothing left for daddy.
Yeah.
So you got 3 kids.
Yes.
Are they in the
3 kids.
business with you? Are they too young? What?
No, they're 9, and my 2 oldest boys, I got a newborn, well, about a 1-year-old. I got 9 and 6, and they actually work for me. When I go out and sell books, I put my little kids.
It's great. I do it too.
Steve
When
does
I
it
go out to
too.
speak, I have my kids sell books,
Run to the
man.
stand and sell them
Yes,
books.
Yeah.
I have to sell books. I just bought a restaurant like last week or something, and they are.
You don't remember when you bought a restaurant, man? Was it last week?
It was like 10 days ago. It was like 10 days ago.
This is one of those things. Like I don't know when I went through that red light. It could have been like.
Yeah, I bought it last Friday, and we opened up this Monday, and so we're in the middle. That's why I'm turning around tripping right
All right.
now. Yeah, exactly.
What kind of restaurant is it? And this is what you try to do. You try to reinvest your proceeds,
Yeah,
so to
absolutely.
speak, into other investment opportunities.
Yeah.
So what kind of restaurant is it?
It's let's call it a soul food restaurant. 'Cause
Well,
we-
let's call it soul food. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
soul food.
It's Texas. We got seafood platters, and it's all spicy, make your nose run, and then
Mhm.
chicken wings that also make your nose
That's
run.
the
Right?
best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, turkey and Boudin Balls. Right? And Boudin Ball. In fact, I told somebody up here with Boudin Balls. Like, what's a Boudin Ball? It's a stuffed sausage that has a bunch of rice and sausage in it and stuff. There's no way you're not gonna get fat eating anything I've just named this far. And we have that down there, and they, when the ticket gets my 2 boys, they run and put the tickets in the back, and then I got them selling 25-cent cakes up front.
Nice.
Because,
You put them to work.
Exactly.
So what's the name of the restaurant?
The name of the restaurant is called The Kitchen. It's
The
in-
Kitchen.
With
And
a D.
this is in Houston. Yeah.
Was a lot of my income was, and that's one thing I don't like. I don't like being what I call congregationally funded. I don't like people to have to fund me. I like having my own economy, so I made sure over time that Les Brown is not a big chunk of my income.
How did you get here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
your brain works fast.
Yeah, I was basically I was homeless at 6 to 18. I ended up aging out of CPS custody, and I didn't have any school supplies, so I had to memorize all my work. I actually failed the 5th grade and the 6th grade back to back because I didn't do homework. I didn't have home, so I didn't do homework. But what that forced me to do was memorize everything. Then when I got to the Army at 18, I had no parents. I scored a 79 on the ASVAB, and a 30 is equivalent to a 70 on in high school, and they put me in counterintelligence. I didn't even know military intelligence existed. Then the Army taught my brain even more crazy stuff, and I got out the Army doing what I did in the Army in business. And counterintelligence, if you knew I was alive, I was going to die. Right? That's just the way it works. In business, if you knew I helped you make money, I don't get a referral. So I just took
Wait,
these
explain
skills.
that. What?
Yeah. So as CEOs, we're narcissistic, whether we want to admit that or not. We like to consume credit and get it. If law of power number 1, if I outshine the master, then my longevity shortens immediately.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
A little slow here. Trying to keep up with that fast-paced brain of yours.
So, I mean, we can't just gloss over that. So, homeless from 6 to 18. Do you have any recollection at all of being with a family when you were 0 to 6, or how do you remember any of that?
Just a bit. I remember my dad being in the Army. I remember going to Germany. I've had 3 conversations with my mom. They're both still alive. My dad's in jail for like 55 years.
Really?
Yeah. And
It's gotta be like murder or something.
Yeah, pretty much,
Well, you either murder somebody, or you can't pretty much
Well,
murder somebody. Like
yeah.
manslaughter. Or
It was
something?
manslaughter,
Yeah.
and then some stuff with some underage people you probably shouldn't have been doing.
Mhm.
And so they hit him real good with that.
Yeah.
And my mom is still on drugs to this day.
Really?
Yeah, she's still on drugs.
Is she in the Lamarck area, the Houston
She's
area?
in Galveston, which is
Okay.
12 miles south of Lamarck. And I've talked to her maybe 3 or 4 times. That's the only thing. Only thing I know about my parents is their birthdays. I don't know. As a matter of fact, I don't even know my real birthday. My real birthday is either. Yeah, I know, right? There you go. It's either July 20th or it's July 26th. I was taught it was July 20th, but when I went to the Army, they wouldn't let me join the Army because the government had me at July 26th. So, me being the compulsive guy I am, I celebrate both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So living in a dumpster,
Yep.
that was part of the journey as well.
Yep.
And this is how do 6 to 18. I mean, these are formative years. You were going to school. You knew at that point. I mean, if I'm 6 and like I don't have a parent telling me to go to first grade, I'm like, man, I ain't going anywhere. Like I'm just hanging out, you know, like doing whatever. But you wanted to go to school.
No, I was hungry as hell.
You were hungry.
Yeah.
So you went to
Yeah.
eat. Yeah.
Were you just pretending like you had a family at home? Or did
Yeah, I would sign all the papers. Yeah, in Texas, they have what they call corporal punishment, and that means if you act up, they can whip you. The vice principal, whatever, can whip you. Mr. Bamberg actually whooped me. You know,
You remember that name,
I
don't you?
remember. Yeah, he whipped the crap out of me. It almost made my legs fall off me.
Yeah.
Exactly. In Texas, they have that. But I signed the papers. And I went to jail a lot for truancy, which I wasn't really truant. I was just walking to school, you know, things like that. And I got the whole dinged up record to show for all of it. You know, it wasn't pretty at all. It sounds pretty when I'm on stage, but it wasn't. It was quite violent to someone's self-esteem.
So how did you survive? I mean, did you end up going into the foster care system? I mean, that's a long period of time for a young child to be on the streets. Obviously, you had to grow up quickly and get street smarts the whole 9. I mean, you're a smart guy. Yeah, obviously, you're smart on a few different levels, obviously. But what I'm trying to understand is, as a young child, you must have been. How did you survive that? I can't even wrap my arms around it.
I almost didn't. I had to from 6 to maybe 11. I'm almost sure 11 to 12. I was raped and molested. You know, like that whole time. And then I had to protect my food. So you got that. If you can always find people. You always tell how somebody grew up by the way they eat their food. At least that's my observation. Because and if you protect your food and eat it real quick, you probably had a lot of brothers and sisters, or you grew up homeless or something like that, you know? And so I went through that whole bad time, and then CPS will send you to psychologists. That crap sucks. You know, had me on Depakote and Seroquel, all that stupid stuff like that. Then I ran away from there about 9, and I just stayed in this dumpster. It was a paper factory on 47th and Broadway in Galveston. And I just stayed there. It was just far easier for me to be by myself, because if I went to one side of my family, they hated my mom. If I went to the other side of my family, they hated my dad, and everybody took it out on me. And the crazy thing is, adults had opinions, but no help. And so I go to this whole, by the time I was 14, I was bad. I was absolutely bad. I was terrible. The police knew me. It was awful. But somehow I just kept moving forward.
So what do you think that is, man? 'Cause we actually have this conversation. So we have another show called Reinvention Radio, and for years we've had this conversation around nurture versus nature. And I'm a big believer that nature wins every single time, which is interesting because you're the first person that I can honestly say that I don't think nature has won with you, right? Because if you look at your mom and you look at your dad, there's a pretty clear path you should be on right now that you're not.
Well, same with Joe.
Joe who? Oh, Jim Padilla.
Jim
Padilla, yeah.
But there's been a few.
So what is your take on that, man? Where do you think this comes from, to Mary's point? I mean, it's not. So it's not nature, right? If you look at the paths that your parents have taken, was there who got in your head, man? Like somebody, there had to be some nurture there. Somebody had to get in your head.
Was it Les Brown tape in that?
Les Brown tape in the dumpster, right?
I wish it was, but no, it wasn't. That would be so marketable though if it was.
Hey, guess what? There was a Les Brown tape in that dumpster.
No, you know what? It was
Change
this,
the marketing.
It was this crazy guy named Michael Merritt. He was the speech and debate coach in high school, and I also had my dad's sister. She wound up adopting me at 14, and there was a bunch of red tape that she had to go through just to do so, and of course CBS. Anyway, they gave her a lot of hell. On top of the hell I gave her, she would punch me in the chest. She really would. And we joke about this all the time. She would punch me in the chest and say, hit me, and I'd be like, no, and I couldn't hit her because she was the only person, that loved me. And then Michael Merritt was the coach, and he was playing football, and I played football, and he pulled me to the side, and he tried to help me, but I didn't listen because who the hell listens, right? I didn't listen at all. Then I separated my shoulder, football, and I don't have nothing to do. And now the drug game is really, really attractive. So I go out there. Obviously, I go out there. I do exactly what I do.
This is 14, 15?
This is 14. This
14.
is freshman year in high school. This is 14. 1996, 97 was the school year. This is 14, and I'm with the wrong crowd. He pulls me to the side, and he challenges me, and I hate challenges. Oh, I hate challenges so much. I'm so competitive. And he says, well, I'll tell you what, come do speech and debate. Really? Come on.
Have you seen me?
Yeah, right?
Have we met?
A bunch of fairies, you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So finally, after him badgering me while I'm doing all the wrong stuff, sophomore year, he challenged me real hard. He says, if you do one speech tournament with me, I'll leave you alone. So I go do it, and I lost.
It's probably the best thing that could have happened to you.
Man, it really was, because I never lost again, right? I lost my first speech tournament. I got to the second round, and the judge tells me the stupidest, greatest thing that I've ever heard. He's like, loud doesn't mean powerful. You need vocal variety. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You need vocal variety, and it angered me so much. And then I went back. I told him I want to go back again, and I won first. And today, I donate all my trophies to Galveston Ball High School. There's 27 trophies. Wow. I actually graduated with speech and debate honors. Forensics is what it's called on my jacket. A dude from the hood. Right? Speech and debate forensics. It was crazy, but Michael Merritt saved my whole life.
Wow.
I eat dinner with him about every 3 months.
Nice.
He saved my whole life.
Tell him
He
we
really
said
did.
hello.
I sure will.
So that sparked you. I mean, obviously you're on the streets,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
scrappy, you're always trying to figure out how to, rub a couple quarters together and make a dollar. So is that where the entrepreneurial side of you was born?
Oh yeah, everything.
So what were you doing for money? I mean, because I assume at some point you probably stole some stuff. I assume at some point you probably just hustled. I mean, like you probably did a little bit of everything,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Definitely stole some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, how couldn't you?
Why not? It's right there.
Yeah.
And I was hungry. It really was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And this was not this. You know what? And that makes me successful today, because I never grew up with rules. And it's helpful for me in two ways. Most of the people I coach, they have low self-esteem because their parents gave it to them. That didn't happen to me. I never received the bad habits of my parents. I just received a bunch of anger towards them. Once I got rid of that, then I could respect women, right? Because my dad, although how crazy he was, he would keep coming back, but my mom never did, and that bothered me. I didn't know it, but you get older, you realize you disrespected women because what your mom did when you were 6 or something like that. So all my entrepreneurial stuff comes from the streets. It really does. I have a team. I employ 22 people. I have 8 that are my core team. I did the same thing in the streets. I didn't touch anything illegal. I let them do it. Right? I didn't do anything like that. All my brain stuff, as far as the business-wise, it all comes from the street. If something wasn't working, I change it. I don't get loyal to any product that I have. It's just the one thing that I live in the Bible Belt. okay, Texas. So it's a lot of churches, and I mean a lot. 2 blocks, 8 churches. And they never change their product, right? They never change it. And they can't reach anybody because, you know, who cares? You got to time travel back to 1950 just to appreciate whatever you want me to appreciate. I don't have that problem. If Facebook stops working today, I'll be on something else. If podcasts stop working, I'll be on something else. If it doesn't make me money, I will move. I learned that from the streets quickly.
Great acclimator.
Yeah, for real. So as you look at your business then, first of all, take us through the evolution of the business. So your first true endeavor, what was that, and then how is your business and organization, like how have you grown over the years? I just want to try to understand that business journey itself. For lack of a better term, let's just call it the legit business journey that we can talk about.
Yeah, Paper Chaser Records is what it was called. The record company.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the 90s. Everybody wanted to be a rapper, right? Come on, it's 90s. It's like it's 2018. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur now, right? It's the same thing. Everybody wanted to be a rapper. In about 2005, I got out the Army, and I'm pursuing this rap thing. So
how long were you? I wanted to
4
say that
years.
for okay, and that probably helped in a number of ways to give you the discipline maybe that you didn't have, and so there was
all
obviously
sorts
some
of
benefits
discipline,
around that.
and then it helped me know I didn't like to work for people.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Being told what to do.
So much.
So the record company was first out of the Army?
First.
Okay.
First thing out the Army, and I sucked. Now, I rapped well, but the business was terrible. I thought that the more people you had around you, the bigger you were. Of course, I had snakes around me, right? Of course, that. Then I had a bunch of poverty people around me because I didn't have much of a prosperity mind. I was just a leader that could influence people to do whatever I wanted to do. So here we are, we sell 8,000 copies of a disc in like 30 days locally in Galveston. And then we're doing this tour. I'm opening up for big time people. And success.
You are the artist and you are the label owner.
Yes, I'm the artist, the label owner, and I start bringing in artists. Okay? So none of that made it fail. What made it fail, because success will reveal your failures, was I had a core that was really rotten. Really, really.
You talking about you internally, or you talking about the team?
The team.
The team.
But then later on, I would find out my core was right.
Can't run too far.
No. You attract what you are, right? So they screw me over, and
I'm a pretty girl. I'm married here.
Yeah, so that one goes belly up, and I actually go to jail. It's the last time I go to jail. This guy really angered me, and I tried to take his head off. I really did, because that's kind of the way you handle stuff when you are a big time rapper.
Yeah.
Go to jail.
Fortunately, you didn't die. I'm
glad I didn't.
Yeah.
I like living. This
right?
living thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like living. I go to jail, and I realize, man, I gotta get my anger together. I was sitting there with this guy. I know this $75,000.
Yeah, but you got a lot of reasons to be angry. I mean, at that point of your life, come on, man. That's not unexpected given everything that you had to go through.
I was 24 at the time too, and 23, 24 when I joined the Army at 18.
Yeah. And
when I go to jail this last time,
how long were you in jail for that last time?
I wound up bonding out for a technicality. The 2 people, I had a gun, obviously, from Texas. Everybody has a gun in Texas.
Yeah.
And what they did, the police searched for the gun. I hid it very well. And then when they came back, the guys tried to kick down my door, and they did find the gun. And then when the police accepted it and turned it in, it created some technicality that my lawyer let me get off on, some blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even matter. I'm just glad I'm free at this point.
So you served almost no time.
Served almost no time. I was in there for like a month. For a month. But it was a month enough, because this is the first time I actually been caught for what I did. Right? Because all the other stuff.
Yeah, you just you figured you're untouchable, right?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
So it's definitely untouchable. I hadn't been touched it.
So some reality after that.
Absolutely. And so then I started doing, I don't understand this personal development. I just try to be a better person. And I start doing all that. And then my next business would be real estate. I would go into real estate, no money, with a 397 credit score. I kid you not.
Right?
I'm sorry. I just had to laugh at my credit score.
0 would actually be better.
It sure would.
Having no credit, no score would actually be
It
better.
sure would.
Right.
The 397 was, woo, man, that was terrible. I'm sorry, I totally broke character, but that credit score was bad. And I go in there, there's this guy named David Bostic, that's his real name. And I say, Dave, man, I need you to get me out of the situation. Whatever, I'll work for you for free. Now, I had no idea I was saying some genius stuff. I was desperate. You know, I was
You just
totally
come across
desperate.
this guy somewhere. And by the way, no one chooses David Bostic as like a fake name. So that's like, I'm going to be David Bostic.
Yeah.
No, nobody's choosing.
No,
That's his real name.
Yeah, that's his real name for sure.
So somehow you came across this guy. He was doing real estate development or some sort of teaching around that or something, and you.
It was a company called Nouveau Riche based out in Arizona, and it was a network marketing real estate company. And I actually still know the owner today. And Chris Record is actually used to be a part of it. He's
I
actually
know.
really okay. All right,
I know the name.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, sweet. And so I work for him for free, and I sent him $200,000 in referrals. And he finally, and the deal was, I'll work for you for free if you give me these $16,000 worth of books I can't buy. I can't. And he gives me these books, and it was over. It's not only did, the books were on CD.
Sure.
And Windows Media Player lets you rip the CDs, right? So I immediately back him up because I didn't know if he was gonna change his mind. You know, I protect your food, I protect these CDs, you know. I immediately back him up, and then I begin to learn. And I begin to buy real estate. I actually bought 5 houses in 1 year.
Did you just go out and raise the money for that? How did you do it? You're coming out of jail, you're just trying to figure this stuff out, you're not making any money at this point,
Fair
right?
enough.
So,
My first 2 properties, the first one I bought for $1. I bought it because in 2008, Hurricane Ike came through and really did a number on Galveston.
yeah.
And there's this old lady, she was like 86, and she didn't want the house anymore. And I knew her, and she was like, baby, just take it. And I was like, well, I can't take it. Tell me that's illegal, right? So she said, well, legal tender is $1.
You need consideration.
There it is. So I give her $1, and I get this house. The second one, now this was funny. I didn't have the money for the house, but it had these 3 oak trees on the lawn. Well, I didn't even know they were oak trees. I just knew they was trees. And I knew this guy named Mike that worked at the lumber company in Galveston, okay? So I said, hey man, can you come check out these trees for me and tell me what kind of trees they are? They're oak trees. I need $8,000 to put down on the house. They're $13,000 in wood that the lumber company can use. I said, do me a favor, take these trees and just give me the $8,000, and I bought my second house that way.
Wow.
I kid you not.
I
Yeah.
feel like I
So
don't
while you're
think
cutting
at
down the
all.
trees, like, hold on,
I know, right?
hold on,
Yeah.
just let me
Interesting.
cut the trees first.
Yeah, I
Wow.
bought my second. I'm desperate, right? I didn't have anything else.
So you started dabbling into the real estate stuff. So what was like what was the first, what you might call like a home run, where you were like, damn, I actually have some real money here?
Yeah, when I was in real estate and I had 12, now real money for me was $1,200 a month. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I had $1,200 a month coming in.
It's real money for waiting too.
in renters, and I wasn't doing anything, you know, but answering the phones. And which is another thing I ended up accidentally doing, law of attraction, I suppose. I put an ad, there's a paper and text called a green sheet. Okay, sweet. So the green sheet is free, you put it in there, I put an ad in there, and my phone rings 200 times an hour now. And I don't know anything about answering phones. None. But you know
What
what?
was the ad for?
The ad was for houses. If you're interested in buying a house, and it was like 3 lines. So they told me if you do 3 lines, it'll work better than having the big old thing. It cost me $75, and I put it in there. It's 3 lines, and it had my phone number. I don't know anything about cold calling, nothing. But when you mess up 1,000 times,
You get pretty good at it.
Oh yeah, I got really good. Right, so now I mastered the phones. I've got this hustler spirit, this way of creative financing. Shucks, I'm unstoppable at that point. Legally.
Legally, right? I am legit.
Yeah.
So again, $1,200 a month. That's coming in from the rent.
That's huge for me, man.
So the jump, I gotta figure out this jump here. So where did you end up going after that? Did you sell all these houses and parlay that into something else, or what did you do?
I sucked. That's the number one thing I did. I chased the wrong woman. I did that one. Secondly, and then Facebook went public.
So this is 20...
2012, I think. 2012. I joined Facebook in
Wow.
2009. Facebook goes public. And I go...
So you're still doing real estate at this point?
I'm still doing real estate.
You're
It's the
still
only
doing,
thing
okay.
I'm
Just
doing.
want to make sure I'm
It's
clear.
the only thing
Yeah.
I'm doing, but I'm not doing it like Facebook going public, you know.
Right.
And Facebook goes public in 2012, and I say, man, wait a minute. MySpace, you know, that's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
MySpace didn't go public. How does an internet company get on Wall Street? I couldn't figure this out. And me not liking losing, I went to go figure it out. I had no idea people were advertising. I had no idea whatsoever. But going to figure it out, I figured out that they advertise a lot. And that if the product is free, then the customer is the product. Right? If you don't pay for it, then you're the product. I figured that out. And from 2012 to 2015, I kept my head down, just working on how to figure out to exploit this Facebook thing. And I had no idea how good I was. When I lifted my head up in 2016, Les Brown found me.
Oh, wow.
I had a large following. I was top 1% in internet marketing. I could do it in any platform. I was only trying to figure out how did Facebook go public. I was not trying to be an internet marketer. And I'm from a small town, Galveston, from Galveston, Texas. I had to learn how to do photography because there's no photographers in a small town. I had to learn how to do audio engineering for the commercials. I had to learn how to video edit. My small town that held me back was the greatest thing that ever happened. It taught me how to be a great PR, a great internet marketer, a great everything else I needed, and the rest is history. That 2012 to 2015, learning sales funnels before anybody knew what they were, and internet marketing before anybody knew that was happening, that was my big buzz.
And so, what's your plan here? I mean, are we looking to exit at some point? I mean, you obviously have to have that $34 million hit. I mean, that's kind of a one-time thing, right? So, what's sustainable? What's scalable? Where are you looking to take this?
Yeah, fair enough. I'm looking at it's called ATS Business University. I have decided, at least I'm marketing it this way, and I love it, that I learned how to be a millionaire. And if Gary Vee's name is synonymous with marketing, and Grant Cardone's name is synonymous with sales, Antonio Smith's name is going to be synonymous with business. I'm going for straight omnipresence with the Antonio T. Smith Jr. Business University, and I've all out the internet. I have a very aggressive goal of creating 100,000 millionaires by July 20th, 2020.
Mary's volunteering. Now we use 909,000. Mary's number one.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my exit strategy. My goal is to be a billionaire by my at least my first birthday, right? My original birthday in July 2020. It's crazy, but I've been crazy my whole life, so it's all good. It's good. That's my exit strategy. My exit strategy is to create I already got it. The business system that creates millionaires, and there's a lot of people in there. Even Les Brown's daughter is in there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
I mean, it is. Let's be honest here. I mean, you Gary Vaynerchuk, white. Tim Ferriss, white.
Yep.
Ariana Huffington, white.
Yeah, she's super white.
Super white,
Yeah.
extra white.
Yeah. Yeah.
So reality is though, especially in the online world, you don't necessarily have to be all things to everyone to do really, really well. So you already have a really solid presence in the African American community. You don't need to be synonymous with business overall. You could just be seen as that black business doctor, whatever you want to call yourself kind of thing, and cater to that community.
I could.
And I mean, obviously you can go into the other worlds if that's what you choose, but the point only being, like, I don't know of a lot of African Americans that have that type of status, right? And who are doing that type of promotional efforts and marketing and so on in that way. There probably are, but I'm just not. So the point only being, I think you've got a lot of runway there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're selling to them? You have the university, which is $20K a year. I assume that's sort of the last step on the path, if you will. Like you've got a profit path, as I call it.
Right.
That's probably one of the last steps on the profit path for someone who comes into your world. What are some of the earlier entry points that you sell?
You can get a 1-year membership for $999, and then it jumps up from $3,000 to $5,000, $7,000, $10,500, caps out at $20,000. You can do all those levels, and the levels include all the training, but what it does is each level includes different human elements that I pay for, so I'm just passing my cost to the customer, right? And then they pay for that there. That's pretty cool. Then I started something called Prevail University, which I call the Netflix of personal development. I basically looked at Amazon and looked at Netflix, and I stole both of their business models, and I put it into one. You either collect money or you sell what you know. In my case, I do both. I collect membership money with Prevail University, $8.99 at a time. Cool thing is, as you come in, there's 50, 60 videos. You've been next month, it's 100. I have me and my whole team of my core team. This is the core team of 8, and we do 20 videos a month. We gotta do 20 videos a month because I have aggressive goal of getting to over 8,000 videos by, I forget which year it's written down, right? But 8,000 videos. But every month it grows, and all you're doing is paying an $8.99 membership fee for personal development, high quality, some good video contrast, and there's a green screen, all that stuff like that. So that's one of the great things that I'm doing as well, just for $8.99 for low end. And then I kind of push you to the business university, which has become the highest paid thing, especially when I speak. When I speak and I give a discount, let's say when I spoke at Les Brown event in April, and I gave I said for $999 you can get the $3,000 package. This is lifetime membership, crazy, but it's lifetime membership, right? You get in there. I made $34,000 speaking for an hour.
Sure.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
As Brian Tracer says, one of the highest paying professions in the world. You can do it, right? For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So what are some of the things then that you learned from the past endeavors that you'll kind of live and learn by and you won't replicate here then moving forward?
I don't chase anybody who's not my customer.
What does that mean?
That means that I spent a lot of time trying to impress people who would never be impressed by me. I spent a lot of time being on the phone with people who were just wasting my time. Now, if you're not my customer, it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me. I'm finding my customer, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with letting people pass me by. At first, I was so compulsive. If you pass me by, I can let it. I'll go chase you. I don't have time for that. If you're not my customer, that's okay. You're somebody else's. And that is a very valuable lesson to someone as compulsive as me. I am only compulsive to people who want my attention. And if you don't want it, I'm okay with that. You can go somewhere else. Yeah.
Richie, Mary, any final thoughts here for our friend Antonio?
No, I'm just kind of blown away.
Yeah, it's a lot to take
good
in,
stuff.
you know? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a lot to take in. Obviously, the journey of where you came from as a human being. Forget about the entrepreneurial side of the equation, but just, I mean, I can't even imagine what it must have been like to be on the streets at 6 years old and then to bounce from so many different places over the course of the next 12 years, and then to the military and to jail and so on. And
That was pretty smart going into the military, though.
super smart. Yeah.
That grounded you. And
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
how
Well,
are your kids? Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, my kids are great. We have I call them Buddy, and I call both the oldest boy, the youngest can't talk right now, right? So I call
Go
them
on.
Buddy,
Yeah.
And somehow they know the difference between the voice inflection. When I call one Buddy and the other one Buddy, they know the difference between. I don't know how they do it, but they're great. We have a great relationship. I actually homeschool. I
Nice.
started. This will be my second year homeschooling.
Wow.
So I'm with them all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what advice would you give to the entrepreneur, either the existing entrepreneur or the aspiring entrepreneur who is looking to either start or scale their business? Because we can't talk about exiting because you haven't exited yet. But what advice would you give to that aspiring entrepreneur who's looking to start, or that current entrepreneur who's looking to scale?
To 10 figures.
Any figure.
To any figure, yeah. To any figure, exactly.
If you just got 2 things.
To a figure that gets them out of the dumpster.
I know.
Whatever
Okay,
that
all right.
is, whatever
You
their,
talk about
yeah,
language
whatever
now,
their
yeah.
proverbial dumpster is, whatever gets them out of that. Yeah.
There it is. Well, fix your character, because what got me here didn't get me there.
You said fix your character.
Yeah, fix your character. Character, like I said, you attract what you are. So when my core was rotten, I figured out I was rotten, and I was pushing a lot of people away. So I fixed that. It took a while too. It took almost 4 years to stop being just even arrogant. I fixed that. The second thing I would say is build a strong team. I just don't see how you can get any serious income without a team. I just, for the life of me, I just can't see it. I have a team that they're running the company right now while I'm on a turnaround flight just to do the show.
Yeah.
And that's, man, you need a team. If you try to do it yourself, you're only going to come up with stuff that impresses you and your personality. And you're going to miss all the other people you can miss. Those would be my 2 things I would say.
I know there's a lot of places that we can send people to get more information about you and all the fun, amazing, helpful things that you're doing, but let's pick a couple of them, man. So how do people connect with you? What would you recommend as the first step to get into your world?
Yeah, Facebook will send you all over the world. You can either search Antonio T. Smith Jr. or you can just do .com/the, as in the ATS JR, and you'll find me right there as well.
Which one you sending Mary to since she raised her hand?
Right, she wants to be one. She wants to be one of the 100,000.
Yeah, that'll work.
100,000 millionaires or a million millionaires, whatever you said, but whatever it is.
100,000 millionaires.
There we
I figured
go.
that'll make me a billionaire. I figured that'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, podcasts. The podcast. I don't plan on stopping. I plan on stopping at 16 podcasts. I understand that the mobile phone's new TV and podcast new radio. I just get that, and I also get that as people are going to podcasts very fast. I'm trying to dominate 16 different podcasts.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, really glad you decided to fly in to join us here on Beyond 8 Figures, and I know it took some doing to get on that flight, man. So thanks for coming and joining us here in studio. Obviously, wish you nothing but the best and continued success, and really do appreciate you sharing your wisdom on our show today. So, for Mary Goulet,
That was awesome.
that was awesome, and Richie Otey, thank you. I am Steve Olsher, and we will talk to you guys next time here on Beyond 8 Figures. Take care.